straight out of a romantic comedy. We crossed paths at a local bookstore, both reaching for the same book with embarrassed laughter. Her warm smile drew me in, and as we chatted about our shared love for literature, I couldn't help but feel a connection forming. Our dates were filled with endless laughter, late-night conversations, and stolen kisses. Jessica had a way of making even the mundane feel special, from picnics in the park to cozy movie nights at home. As time passed, our bond deepened, and I found myself falling head over heels for her. She had an aura of kindness and innocence that captivated everyone around her. I felt lucky to have found someone so genuinely sweet, and I cherished every moment we spent together. We shared secrets, dreams, and fears, and I believed that our love story was destined to be a heartwarming tale of two souls finding each other. But then, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. It started with subtle shifts in her demeanor. Jessica's laughter began to sound a touch too hollow, and her eyes held a hint of something distant, almost haunted. I brushed it off as stress or my overthinking, wanting to preserve the idyllic picture I had painted of us. One evening, as we cuddled on the couch watching a movie, I felt a chill run down my spine. Jessica's fingers traced circles on my arm, but her touch felt icy, sending shivers through my body. I glanced at her, and her smile seemed forced, the corners of her lips curling in a way that didn't reach her eyes. It was as if a shadow had passed over the sunlight that once radiated from her. As the days went by, the unease in my gut grew stronger. Jessica's once endearing quirks now seemed like calculated behaviors. Her innocent remarks took on a sinister undertone, and her jokes had a cruel edge that cut deeper than I'd care to admit. It was like I was slowly getting to know a different side of her, a side that was hidden beneath layers of sweetness. One night, as I lay awake beside her, I watched her sleep. Moonlight filtered through the curtains, casting an eerie glow on her face. Her features seemed distorted in the darkness, her lips curled in a smirk that sent a shiver down my spine. I blinked, and the smile was gone, replaced by the peaceful expression of someone lost in dreams. Had my mind been playing tricks on me? The doubt gnawed at my sanity. I wanted to address my concerns with her, but every time I tried, she deflected with practiced ease, blaming her stress or exhaustion for her changed behavior. I felt like a stranger in my own relationship, lost in a maze of uncertainty. One evening, as we stood on her balcony looking out at the city lights, Jessica turned to me with a peculiar glint in her eye. She spoke in a tone that was both playful and menacing, asking if I would do anything for her, even things that went against my values. It was like a dare, a twisted challenge that left me speechless. I stumbled through an answer, my heart pounding in my chest. The atmosphere had shifted, and the romantic backdrop had turned into a scene from a suspense thriller. My grip on reality was slipping, and I felt like I was trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. In the end, I couldn't deny the truth any longer. The sweetness I had fallen for was a mask, a facade concealing something darker lurking beneath. I realized that love, however strong, couldn't blind me to the reality of the person I was with. As I walked away from her, I felt a mixture of sadness and relief. The love story I had envisioned had twisted into a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the sweetest beginnings can lead to chilling conclusions. Love had turned to fear, and the innocence I had cherished was shattered, replaced by the haunting echoes of a relationship gone awry. When I met Emily, it was like a ray of sunshine had broken through the clouds of my life. We clicked instantly, the kind of connection that you only read about in books or watch in romantic movies. Our laughter echoed through coffee shops, and our gazes held secrets that only we understood. She was enchanting, with a smile that could light up a room and a laugh that was contagious. Our early days together were a whirlwind of adventures, picnics in the park, lazy Sunday mornings, and spontaneous road trips. It felt like we were living in a dream, a perfect haven of happiness where nothing could go wrong. But over time, the cracks began to appear, like fault lines forming beneath the surface of a seemingly stable ground. Innocent disagreements turned into heated arguments, and her once caring words started to sting like icy rain on a winter day. Yet, I convinced myself that every relationship had its ups and downs, and we were no different. As the months went by, I noticed a change in her behavior. Her once bright eyes held a hint of darkness, and her laughter no longer reached her eyes. There was an unsettling tension whenever we were together, like a storm brewing on the horizon. She grew possessive, asking endless questions about my whereabouts and interactions, leaving me feeling like I was under constant surveillance. One evening, as we sat on the couch, she absent-mindedly traced her finger over my hand. The touch that once comforted me now felt like a spider crawling up my skin. Her voice, which used to be soothing, now held a razor's edge, each word cutting deeper than the last. It was as if I was trapped in a web, struggling to escape while it tightened around me. I confided in friends about my concerns, but Emily always managed to put on a charming facade whenever they were around. She'd smile, make jokes, and act like the caring girlfriend I had fallen for. It was as if I was the only one who saw the darkness lurking beneath her exterior. One night, as we lay in bed, Emily's voice took on a haunting tone. She spoke about how we were meant to be together, how we were destined to be connected forever. The words sent a shiver down my spine, and I realized that her obsession with me had taken a sinister turn. I tried to end the relationship, but she refused to let go. She showed up unannounced at my doorstep, sent endless messages and voicemails, and even resorted to spreading lies about me to mutual friends. I felt like I was living in a nightmare, unable to escape the clutches of a love that had turned into a suffocating grip. I sought help from friends, family, and even the authorities. But breaking free from her hold seemed impossible. She would switch between pleading for my forgiveness and making chilling threats that sent fear coursing through my veins. It was like being trapped in a maze with no way out, surrounded by her manipulation and deceit. Slowly, with the support of loved ones and therapy, I managed to distance myself from her. The process was painful, a slow unraveling of the web she had spun around me. It took time to rebuild my life and regain a sense of normalcy, but with every step forward, I felt like I was reclaiming my own identity. Looking back, I realized that the sweet beginning of our relationship had been a facade, a carefully constructed illusion that concealed the darkness within her. It was a harsh lesson that love, no matter how genuine it seems, can sometimes become a trap that threatens to consume your very being. High school brought with it a roller coaster of emotions, and for me it began with Lily. She was the kind of girl who could make your heart race with just a smile. Our paths crossed in the hallways, and soon enough, we were sharing stolen glances and shy hellos. Lily's laugh was like music to my ears, and I found myself drawn to her like a moth to a flame. We started spending time together, our afternoons filled with laughter as we explored the city, talked about our dreams, and shared secrets we hadn't told anyone else. We would meet up at the local coffee shop where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the excitement that bubbled between us. Lily's presence was intoxicating, and every moment spent with her felt like stolen fragments of time. But then there was him, Jared. He was another student at our school, someone who always seemed to be lurking in the background whenever Lily and I were together. At first, I dismissed it as mere coincidence, but his presence grew more intrusive, his gaze becoming increasingly intense. One day, as Lily and I were enjoying a peaceful walk in the park, we spotted Jared sitting on a bench, watching us with a malevolent grin. Lily's expression shifted from joy to discomfort, and I couldn't shake off the feeling that there was something sinister behind his eyes. As time went on, Lily's interactions with Jared became more frequent. She would brush off his behavior as a misunderstanding, claiming that they were old friends and that he meant no harm. But I couldn't shake the sense of unease that settled in the pit of my stomach whenever he was around. Our hangouts became less carefree, the shadows of Jared's presence casting a dark cloud over us. I tried to ignore it, to focus on the connection Lily and I had, but there were moments when it felt like we were being watched, like every word exchanged was being monitored. One evening, as we sat at our usual coffee spot, Jared approached us. His tone was menacing, his words dripping with cruelty as he belittled Lily. I could see the fear in her eyes, the way she shrunk under his gaze. Anger surged within me, but before I could react, Lily pleaded with me to let it go, as if she was trapped in some twisted web of loyalty to him. Despite her protests, I couldn't stand by and watch her be subjected to his torment. I confronted Jared, demanding that he leave Lily alone. His laughter sent shivers down my spine, his eyes gleaming with a malevolent satisfaction. He warned me to stay away, his threats hanging in the air like a poisonous cloud. The incident left a chilling mark on our relationship. Lily's smiles grew less frequent, her laughter tainted by the memory of that confrontation. She withdrew, and I could sense her slipping away like a fragile thread about to snap. One fateful night, as I walked Lily home, the darkness seemed to close in around us. Our footsteps echoed in the silence, and I could feel the weight of something sinister lurking nearby. And then I saw him, Jared, emerging from the shadows with a predatory grin. He approached us with a sinister glint in his eyes, his words laced with malice as he whispered threats that sent a cold shiver down my spine. Lily trembled beside me, her voice barely a whisper as she begged him to leave us alone. In that moment, it was as if the very air had turned icy. I realized that Jared's obsession with Lily had reached a terrifying peak, and his intentions were far from innocent. Fear gripped me, but a surge of determination pushed me to protect her, to shield her from whatever darkness he intended to unleash. With a voice that quivered but held unwavering resolve, I warned Jared that I wouldn't let him hurt Lily. His laugh was chilling, his eyes reflecting a madness that sent a chill through my veins. He vanished into the night, leaving behind an unsettling echo of his malevolence. In the aftermath of that night, Lily and I shared a somber silence. The sweetness that had once defined our connection was marred by the sinister presence that had intruded upon it. I knew that Jared's threat was far from over, but I was determined to keep Lily safe, to shield her from the darkness that threatened to consume us both. As we faced the unknown, our bond was tested in ways we never could have anticipated. The terrifying crush that had once been innocent transformed into a battle against a sinister force, a fight for a love that we refused to let be tainted by fear. And in the midst of the shadows, we found strength in each other, vowing to overcome the darkness and reclaim the sweetness that had first brought us together.